So the album sounds like it was begging to exist, despite the fact that it's come from various eras in your career. And it does deal with serious topics, your passion and your concern for the environment and our responsibility to it. But it does sound like you had an extraordinary amount of fun in the post-production. And I want to first ask about the android chorus singers that appear on many of the tracks.
Yes.
Were they androids?
Aren't they perfect and beautiful?
They are. They're uncanny and quite scarily perfect.
It
and
is
there's
a
a
little
reason.
bit disturbing how good they are. And surrounded by us, you know, because we're a little more raw. And
It's very dirty sounding, isn't it?
So, but I'm glad that it's working. It seems to be getting people to be a little uneasy when they hear the beautiful sound of, you know, the corporate harmony.
They represent the perfect corporate face
Yes.
and the
yes.
advertising
and you know
voice.
instantly as soon as you hear them that you can't believe it.
Don't
but
trust
you
them.
need to listen to them over and over again because they've hooked you.
And how about the vocoder when you sing the G crops? Is that the first time you've played with vocoder?
Well, it's actually an auto-tune device that a lot of singers use now, and especially in some of the newer genres, they use it as a sound that identifies.
Like the Cher was the big single.
It
isn't
identifies the whole, you know, the whole thing, and a lot of people do harmonies and they put them on one voice at a time with everything perfect, and so that, obviously it's perfect.
And was it fun for you to play around
Well,
with it?
the word GMOs, you know, I thought that really worked well for GMOs.
And in terms of that play between the perfect post-production sounds and then the real raw, gutsy sound that we've known, that's characterised your work for so long, it must have been a lot of fun then to put them both together and to represent the different voices of the album.
Yes, I had a great time with it, and you know those singers are, even though they're the voice of the corporate harmony, and that's what they represent. They also sing about real things in the record that are not corporate, that are real things that actually affect Earth, that everything is part of, you know.
Tell us about all the voices then, all of Earth's voices on the bear noise and the seagulls and the buzzy bees, and that must have been fun. Where did you source those recordings?
We recorded a lot of it ourselves, and then some things that we located, you know, from researching the internet and getting high resolution files of everything that we needed, like whales and different creatures that are here on the planet with us.
In terms of guitar choices, I mean, you're very well known for some tremendous, huge riffs that start the songs on this album as well. But also, I'd mention it now, many years ago, I was given a triple O acoustic Martin from Vapor Records, which you were running, and I write on it often.
Great.
And I was wondering, for your writing process, do you often write with acoustic guitar or electric, or does it just vary?
It varies all the time. I mean, sometimes I write on piano, and sometimes I write on acoustic guitar, sometimes on electric guitar. There really is no rule.
And do you remember the first time that you stood in a rehearsal studio and heard that drum, just the classic rock setup, the drum, the bass, and the electric guitars? Do you remember that time?
Well, that was really a long time ago. I wasn't in the studio, but I was in my living room.
Because you keep returning to it, so you must have felt the power of it.
Basic rock and roll, yeah, basic. 2 guitars, bass, and drums. It's a really good thing.
Why do you think it has that effect on people, and on you particularly?
It's freedom. It's an expression that can happen. It's a great form. It's a form, and you need to hear all of it. You can't, to get it, you really have to hear it. That's why I like the high resolution of Pono and other things like that, because I have to mention that because that's how I like to listen to it, and that's how I like other people to listen to it. It doesn't have to be my company, but if they would search out high resolution music and actually listen, that's what everybody listened to in the 60s and 70s and early 80s was high res. And that's when a lot of music there's a lot of great music made in those times.
What do you listen to on a Sunday morning? And what artists do you keep returning to that inspire you and continue to?
Well, Sunday morning I probably am listening to some crows and some, I do listen a lot to just nature where I live. It's the birds and everything, they're all very vocal. And I like to listen to what's going on in the world. But when I'm listening to music, I still, when I put on records that I want to hear, they comfort me because they're things that I'm familiar with. It's Jimmy Reed records, old blues records, J.J. Cale records. Naturally, the mono version of Naturally is.
Did you know
great.
J.J. Cale? Did you
Yeah,
meet him?
I met him. He played on Comes a Time. He played on a couple of tracks.
Where did he get that groove from, I wonder?
Oh, I don't know where he got it, but he's got it.
Do you garden? And are you an organic gardener?
I'm not personally a gardener myself, no, but I know some good gardeners.
I want to ask you as well, you've shared so many great records with us over so long. With many writers, their songwriting can get a bit soft, I feel. But with you, your songwriting is getting less and less compromising in terms of the message that you want to give. Is that how you feel, and has your perspective changed from when you were a young boy writing and now as an older gentleman?
Well, I don't know that it's changed, but it just seems a lot of things have fallen off that I just can't do anymore. Some things I just don't want to repeat. And I find that the things I'm thinking of and singing of they're the things that matter to me. Not that in the past it wasn't like that, but now, as I've gotten older, the things that matter to me are more focused. The things where I feel like I could use my power and my skills as an artist and as a crafter of records or whatever, that I could say things and people might hear them that they normally wouldn't hear. Even if somebody's upset with me for singing Monsanto like 18 times in one song, and they complain about it in the review.
But it worked.
That's the time when somebody heard, what the heck's Monsanto, and they can find out about it.
I had a friend who was busking in Nashville, and you were passing by, and you stopped and talked to her and signed a guitar. And she told me the story, and I was just wondering whether it's important to you as well. I know you've spent a lot of your life in encouraging people and working for charity as well. And how important is it to you to keep your ears open and support the younger generation of artists as well?
Well, it's very important, and I really feel for the younger generation of artists because there are so many things that have made it so hard for them. It's not as easy for them as it was for me. All I had to do was do my thing and really do it as well as I could. And I knew everybody'd hear it. I'd make a record, people would be able to hear it. Now they make a record, people hear 5% of what they did, of what they might have recorded in the studio. And that's what everybody's listening to. So you can't get to the human body the way I could with 100% of the sound when you only have 5% of it. I mean, the data is so reduced, and the body is a very sensitive thing. You have to, it wants to be tickled, it wants input, it wants to be caressed, it wants everything, and that's what makes you have goosebumps, and that's what makes your feelings well up, what makes you cry or laugh when you hear something. If you are only getting 5% of that, it's like eating an apple. It's only 5% apple, and the rest of it is like cardboard or something.
Yeah.
And we've all had that feeling eating food.
In America.
Every once in a while. In America, it's very, it's un-American.
It is the apple pie thing. You
Yeah,
you
it's
want
not.
real
No,
apple
no,
pie.
you want the real apple pie.